The PS Plus Extra and Premium games have been revealed for this month, and I think this is a much stronger list than we got on PS Plus Essential. So hopefully people will be more happy with this and more people will be satisfied, because I looked through this list and there are a couple of games that I'm definitely going to add to my backlog and will eventually play at some point. But with that in mind, let's go over all of the games that are being added first. So number 1, WWE 2K25. This was just released last March 2025, so a relatively brand new game, and I'm actually surprised that this is coming right away to PS Plus. This isn't the kind of game you would expect to see land on the service so soon after its release. And it seems that this is something we're seeing occur more and more often with PS Plus, like with PS Plus Essential. So with WWE 2K25, if you're a fan of WWE, obviously you're very much going to enjoy this. Probably some diehard fans may have already picked this game up, but I like how with both PS Plus Essential and PS Plus Extra Premium, there is going to be a full-blown new sports game. And I think that's smart because you're just appealing to a very massive audience with these games. They sell really well, they have a big audience, but there is also a pretty casual audience surrounding games like this, where you have individuals that maybe they're interested, and this is the perfect way for them to give it a try. And maybe they'll even become a live service player if they get the game for free through PS Plus. That's another thing to keep in mind with the sports games. It holds true with all the live service games we're seeing get added to PS Plus at the day and date. So yeah, WWE 2K25 is the first game coming. I think this is a really solid addition, and I'm actually considering trying this out because I saw footage of it and I've never really been a fan of games like this, but they always did look kind of fun. Next up is Persona 5 Tactica, which was released in 2023. This is a tactical RPG spin-off of the hugely popular Persona 5, and it puts you in control of the Phantom Thieves as they battle against a new enemy in a series of grid-based battles. The game has a unique art style that blends the anime-inspired look of Persona 5 with a more chibi, cartoonish style, and it looks great in motion. The gameplay is fast-paced and strategic, with a focus on positioning and using your team's abilities to outmaneuver your enemies. Each member of the Phantom Thieves has their own unique skills and abilities, and you'll need to use them all to overcome the challenging battles. The game also has a new story that expands on the world of Persona 5, introducing new characters and factions that add depth to the already rich lore of the series. Persona 5 Tactica is a great entry point for new fans of the series, and it's a must-play for anyone who loves tactical RPGs. Up next, we have Green Hell, a pretty darn solid open-world jungle survival simulation game. You're trying to survive in the Amazonian rainforest, and it is brutal. It is a pretty daunting game where it starts out. Later on, you can get a little bit more used to it, but I remember the first handful of hours being pretty brutal. Now, the game does have a really good progression system, so it does get better as you go on. But the concept here is you wake up in the middle of the Amazon forest. There's no food, there's no equipment, and it's up to you to figure out what to do to survive. Obviously, you can follow the beaten path here with a story mode, or you can go into the survival mode where you can choose your difficulty. If it is your first time starting out, maybe choose a lower difficulty because again, you'll just have more fun that way. Also, the game does have online cooperative multiplayer, and that's always nice to see in these types of survival games. Up to 4 players. I highly recommend playing with friends if you have them that do want to play this game. But overall, it's a pretty good survival title. Survival game fans, you're gonna absolutely enjoy it. Next up, we have Fate Samurai Remnant. A little bit more of a niche title, but I know a lot of people have been asking about this since it dropped. This was ultimately received very well. Fate is just a big franchise, and they continually drop games in, and a lot of them are received well. This is one of the games that was received pretty well. I think, maybe it drags a bit in the beginning, however, once the game gets going, I do think it is a pretty enjoyable game. I played the game myself. Again, I think it does drag quite a bit at the front, and you gotta look at it as more of a JRPG with a bit of hack and slash gameplay. but it's a pretty enjoyable JRPG at that. I think it's worth checking out, and if you are a fan of the Fate property, you'll definitely get a kick out of this one. It's more of a visual novel style presentation, not necessarily the best looking game in the world, but it does get the job done. And overall, it is a very solid game with a cool open world to explore as well. So yeah, Fate's got some pretty good games to it, some that I think are a little bit underrated, and Samurai Remnant is one absolutely worth checking out. I think it is a little bit pricey at $60, so I'm glad that it is dropping on Extra. I know a lot of you guys have been asking for it. Next up, we have Crow Country. This is a bit of a quirky title. It's easily a game that's not going to be for everyone. It's got a late 1990s PS1 aesthetic, and sometimes these games go for the PS1 aesthetic and they really hit home. This is one that necessarily doesn't really hit home, but nonetheless, the art style itself still looks decent, even though I do think it is trying to replicate the PS1 aesthetic a little bit too much. But more so than that, I think the gameplay here is actually solid. This is a single-player adventure survival horror game where you're going on this investigation. Essentially, you search for the owner of this Crow Country amusement park after it's been closed for 2 years, but you're basically met with this arising mystery that, of course, you're gonna get to the bottom of. So again, a well-reviewed game. I know this has gotten a little bit of buzz. It's not a game that I know is gonna get everybody interested. It's got those survival horror elements that are really gonna heighten its appeal as well for some of you guys. So check this out when it drops, but overall, a game that again is kind of replicating the survival games of yesteryear. If those games are your cup of tea, if those games are what you want to see, I think this will be a game that you end up enjoying. Next up, we have the Invincible. This is a first-person science fiction thriller and adventure game. This has kind of been a low-key banger since it dropped. Like, a lot of people really liked this game, and it has easily gone under the radar for a lot of people. But another game that has kind of a lot of mystery to it, with character interactions that can lead you to different outcomes. I know some people can call it a walking simulator and kind of get against it over that, but it's got a strong narrative impact, and that's what they're trying to pull off. It's an interesting game. It's also like $30, I believe, so a little bit cheaper of a game to begin with. So to get it as part of Extra, it's pretty nice as well. Go check it out and see if it's a game that appeals to you. Again, with these narrative-driven games, I know that the appeal isn't going to be the highest. I think what this month is really missing is like an 8 out of 10 high-octane, big-budget action game, whether that be a first-person shooter or a third-person action title or something as such. I feel like these months, whenever we don't get that, we're kind of missing something. But even so, if you are kind of looking for these games that have gone under the radar, these are pretty good offerings this month. Next up, we have Conscript. This is another survival horror game, this time set in the World War I 1916, presenting a haunting offspring of war that claimed many lives during this time. Conscript is a game that, again, leans heavily on the survival horror elements. Basically, you play as a French soldier looking for your brother who has gone missing in battle, and you're trying to solve puzzles as you navigate through intricate, pretty well-crafted, and interconnected environments. There are scarce resources, and you gotta make decisions that ultimately lead to some different endings. And if you're a fan of that genre, I think you're gonna be a big fan of this. Horror games always do pretty well as part of PlayStation Plus, whether it be on the Essentials tier or the Extra tier. So I imagine this game will do pretty well. It's another game similar to Crow Country. If you're into those types of games of yesteryear, Conscript will be a game you end up enjoying, and it's a game that has gotten quite a bit of buzz. Again, with all of these games, it seems like they've gotten their audience, but they haven't really blown up. I feel like Conscript could be one of those games that could very much blow up. It just needs to be in more hands, and being a part of Extra is ultimately going to put it in people's hands. And then, on the PlayStation Plus premium service, dropping on both the PS4 and PS5, we have Legacy of Kain, Defiance, a single-player third-person action-adventure title. It has a good narrative to it as well, and this came out all the way back in 2003. Of course, back during the days of the PlayStation 2, it was 20 plus years old at this point. It has a lot of action to it, and overall is a pretty good game. It has hack and slash elements as well, so go check this out when it drops. Probably the game that most people, or at least a lot of people, might end up checking out just from a name value standpoint. But yeah, again, Defiance is dropping on September 16th, and all of these games are dropping on the 16th, by the way. I imagine they're gonna drop very early your time on the 16th, or at least by like 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern time. That's when they usually drop. But right around there, you'll be able to download all the games. But that is gonna do it for me as far as all of the games dropping on PlayStation Plus Extra for September. Again, I do wish that there were more. I do wish that we got some more games. But yeah, it is what it is whenever they drop games as far as the PlayStation, and this is not that spectacular, but there's a lot of high quality stuff here as I went over in this video. That's gonna do it for me. Let me know all your thoughts in the comment section down below. Peace out.